Sevilla in the finals of UEFA Super Cup finals today between Manchester City and Sevilla. So let's see what happens today. Who wins today's game? The time is gonna tell us. But for me, I think Manchester City is gonna come back into this game. Whom are you supporting today? You can let us know in the comments. But if you have just joined us, make sure to like the video. If you are supporting Manchester City, make sure to like the video and subscribe the channel, so whenever we go live you will get the notification for all the matches. It will be very interesting to see how Manchester City will play in the second half, because in the first half it has been a tremendous piece of play from Sevilla. Although the ball position has been just tremendous for Manchester City, it's almost 76% of ball position Manchester City has, and only 26 Manchester City. Then after some time for the Sevilla, the second penalty was taken by Rafa Mir, and he also scored a goal in this game. Now City entered this contest on a back of comprehensive opening day 3-0 win in the Premier League against Burnley, last season's treble winner, made their debut in the competition, having won a European trophy for the first time in their history. Pep Guardiola named a strong lineup as he looked to rotate his squad and balance the early season congestion. Now the third penalty from Manchester City, it was Kovacic who scored a goal for Manchester City, and he is the man who scored the third goal for Manchester City. Sevilla, on the other hand, are no strangers to the Super Cup, having won the Europa League a record 7 times, including 5 in their last decade. Despite a lowly 12th placed finish in the La Liga last season, triumph in Europe gave them a boost as they qualified for this game. Manager Jose Luis Mendibar named a competitive lineup today. So Kovacic, who scored the third goal for Manchester City, and for Sevilla, the third goal was scored very easily, and it was Rakitic who scored the third goal for the Sevilla side. So after 3 attempts, it was 3-3 for both the sides. Manchester City made a dominant start of the game and played their typical possession-based style, multiple goal threats. They kept the ball off 74% of the first period, attempting 9 shots with just 3 on target. Jack Grealish and Cole Palmer were busiest attacker for the Guardiola's team, as most of their move developed on our flanks. So after Rakitic, the fourth penalty was taken from Manchester City, and it was number 10 Jack Grealish who scored the penalty for the Manchester City. Despite dominance and control, Sevilla went into the interval with a 1-goal lead. They had limited possession and attempted 4 shots in the first period, scoring from their only attempt on target. Marcos Acuna provided a perfect cross into danger in Manchester City 18-yard box. However, Yusuf En-Nesyri met with a perfect connection to score a great header. Sevilla led Manchester City 1-0 in the break, but we'll talk about after the break what happened. But the fourth penalty from Sevilla was taken by Montiel, and the fourth penalty was converted as well. So it was 4-4 after 4 penalties for both the sides. Sevilla made a decent start to the second period as well, but were brought back in the pegging terms as Manchester City equalized 15 minutes into the second period. UEFA Champions League winner Hero Rodri provided. He played a delicate cross towards the back post, towards which 3 blue shots were converging. However, Cole Palmer rose and met ball sweetly to make it 1-1 after 63rd minute. Now City continued to commit bodies after in search of late winner as the clock ticked on despite multiple chances. Now the fifth and the final penalty was taken by Walker, and Walker easily scored the goal, and he made sure he don't have to go for the next penalty shootout. Now they were unable to find a way past Bano, who made 6 great saves throughout the game. Eventually, the referee called time on regulation time as the game was ended on penalties. Each of the first 9 takers scored there, with only Gudelj firing his shot off target as it smashed off the crossbar, and out Sevilla lost the shootout in a heartbreaking fashion as Manchester City lifted the cup. On that note, let me take I'll tell you more, but the last penalty was missed by Gudelj, and with that, Manchester City won in the penalty shootout. So Manchester City 5, Sevilla 4 in the penalty shootout, and after first 90 minutes, it was Manchester City 1 and Sevilla 1. So Manchester City have won another silverware now against the Sevilla. Now, what do you want to say about the other side? Let me know in the comments. But if you have just joined us, make sure to like and subscribe the channel. So whenever we go live, we'll get the notification for each and every match. Won in the penalty shootout, and what a game we have watched today. It's been a fantastic game of football we have seen today between Manchester City and Sevilla. So what we have seen, let me just explain to you. It has been an extraordinary performance from Manchester City to win another silverware in the UEFA Super Cup finals against Sevilla. First, we thought Manchester City may lose this game, but what a performance. Now we'll talk about this game. Here is the penalty shootout. You can check it out on the screen. The first goal was scored from Manchester City. It was by Erling Haaland, and the first goal came from the Sevilla side in the penalty shootout by Ocampos. Now, there are some things which we want to talk about. Manchester City and Sevilla played out a 1-1 draw in the regulation time in the UEFA Super Cup final at the Karaiskakis Stadium in Piraeus, Greece. City then edged in penalty shootout 5-4, win their maiden Super Cup final. Now, the second penalty from Manchester City was taken, and the second penalty was easily scored from Alvarez. So he scored the second penalty for Manchester City. Then after some time for the Sevilla, the second penalty was taken by Rafa Mir, and he also scored a goal in this game. Now City entered this contest